In the U.S. National Archives in Washington, D.C., armed guards stand in constant watch in the rotunda for the Charters of Freedom, including the Declaration of Independence. There, underneath bulletproof glass and beneath the watchful eyes of the state-of-the-art system of cameras and sensors, the faded pages of the Declaration, along with the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights, are enshrined and presented to thousands of people from around the world. At night, the documents are stored in an underground vault, rumored to be strong enough to withstand a nuclear attack. But why is the Declaration of Independence so protected and cherished? In short, it's because it serves as one of the ideological foundations for the government of the United States. It expresses the inspiration for American democracy and presents a series of logical arguments for why a nation should be free and independent. In 1776, the 13 British colonies in North America were rebelling against British rule after more than a decade of strife over taxation and government representation. As the Revolutionary War got underway, representatives from each of the colonies agreed that it was time to put forward a statement expressing the colonies' reasons for desiring independence. Congress appointed a committee of 5 highly talented and well-respected representatives on June 11, 1776, to explain why the American colonies decided to become independent states and wanted separation from the British Empire. The committee consisted of John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Robert Livingston, and Roger Sherman. As the committee met and debated, there was one major question hanging in the air: which one of them would write this document? This momentous task fell upon Thomas Jefferson, a 33-year-old Virginia lawyer. Jefferson was chosen because he brought to Philadelphia a reputation for literature, science, and a happy talent for composition. In addition, his contemporaries had already noted his peculiar felicity of expression. In terms of writing style, the formal writing of John Adams seemed ponderous. By contrast, Jefferson's prose was graceful and elevated. Benjamin Franklin, though a master at coining aphorisms, would likely have included a joke in the Declaration if he had authored it. It should be noted that since the resolution of independence had been introduced in the name of Virginia, tradition called for a representative of that colony. Jefferson was inspired by the English Enlightenment philosopher John Locke, whose writings on government put forward 2 ideas that would become quite important to Jefferson. First, that all humans are born with natural rights, including the right to protect their lives, liberty, and property. Second, that government is a social contract between people and their rulers, which can be dissolved if rulers fail to promote the people's welfare. Although these ideas seem pretty tame by modern standards, in the 18th century they were tantamount to treason. The nations of Europe were led by monarchs who exercised the divine right of kings and owed little or no consideration to the will of their subjects. English citizens had some rights, certainly, but no one would dare to say that the English monarchy could simply be dissolved. Nevertheless, Jefferson, in writing the Declaration, hoped to dissolve the relationship between the American colonies and Britain. He drafted the Declaration and gave it to his colleagues, John Adams of Massachusetts and Benjamin Franklin of Pennsylvania, for revisions. After incorporating their suggestions, Jefferson submitted the Declaration to the colonial representatives for approval. At the most basic level, the Declaration of Independence is a list of grievances against the British Crown, seeking the sympathy of the international community for the cause of the colonies in revolting against their mother country. But at a higher level, the ideas expressed in the Declaration serve as the inspiration for American democratic values. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved, and that, as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. These ideas that all men are created equal and that government is based on the consent of the governed became the foundation for the United States political ideal of popular sovereignty. This means that the government exists to serve the people, who elect representatives to express their will.